Hi everybody, Emily Chamel here today, and I'm sharing with you a layout created for Belle Blvd. And you will see as we go along with this layout, there's going to be a lot of change. This layout almost ended up in a bin, let's be honest. So let's start with the title. I started with this too cute cut file. So the main cut file that you get on the Silhouette Studio website is all from Belle Blvd, and this too cute website is the cut out in white, what you see in white. Then with my Cricut, I use the offset setting to create the pink backing on it. I wanted to have something that popped behind it, and I wanted to play around with the offset, and I thought that was the perfect time to do it. I then glued all the cut file onto the pink and then went on to place it on this background. And if you remember the photo from the start of this video, this is not the background we've got at the end. So anyway, created all the layout on this background. This is all from the Tiny Tots 2.0 collection, and mounted it onto that background. The heart and ombre paper is from the Bella Besties pack. You can have them usually match with each collection, or you can buy them as actual packs of all the ombre and heart and all the other Bella Besties. I absolutely love the ombre papers. They are so versatile. I use 3 of them in this video, and on this one I used the hard side. I then went on to recut the letters, the inside of the letters, with the yellow heart and ombre pepper. I wanted to repeat the yellow from the dress Sophia is wearing in the photos I've chosen for this layout, which you haven't seen yet apart from at the start of the video. So I'm mounting it onto a double-sided sticky foam pad, applying all the sticky foam pads all around so that each letter is well supported, all the while staying onto the paper area. Just wanted to make sure I wasn't gonna put a foam pad in the hole, so that would lower the letter by sticking it to the background, which is already one level lower. And then I'm just applying the letter. So I decided to use the ombre side of the yellow paper. I wanted it to be subtle and light, but I wanted the yellow to repeat the dress Sophia is wearing, as mentioned. It is very light. It doesn't shout out too strongly. And another part where I wanted to repeat the yellow from the dress was to matte my photograph. It's all about pulling those colors from the photo and make them go onto the layout, just making sure that it makes sense, that it's all one bit rather than we've just glued some photos to that layout and it could have been anything. No, I just really wanted the photo to be pulled into that layout. At the end of the day, Tiny Tot 2.0 collection is very aimed at babies and toddlers and not particularly at dressing up or anything like that. So I knew I would have to bend the collection to make it work with my photos and not choose photos that work with the collection. I was adamant I wanted to use those photos, so I had to make it work. And one of the way I wanted to use to make it work was to use some of the red papers as well as the green papers from the Tiny Tot 2.0 collection and create a rose. Now Sophia's wearing a Belle from Beauty and the Beast dress, fancy dress, and on it has a few little red roses, and Beauty and the Beast is well associated with red roses anyway. So I decided to create my own embellishment, my own red rose, to again pull out imagery from the photo and make the story work together on this layout. I used a large flower punch, and then I am cutting off petals and rolling them, gluing them to create that 3D look. I had cut out 6 flowers. In the end, I only needed 4. I didn't use all of them, and I'm using a technique that I love to use generally on any florals or leaves, I'm rolling it against my paintbrush, against the handle of the paintbrush, to bring it some life, give it some volume, give it some movement. And then I'm gluing every layers on top of each other, and you'll see by the end of it, it makes a really cute rose. The paper is very, very good quality and a bit thick, so it can be hard to mold and it can tear a little bit, but other than that, it still looks really, really nice, and it creates a nice 3D rose. It's a technique that obviously you do not use if you want your page to fit into an album. It makes it quite big, although I have in the past put those pages with those roses in albums, but it's at its best if you put it into a shadow box. So now that the rose has been fully assembled and glued, it's time for me to cut out some leaves. I chose the green paper, again from the Tiny Tots collection, and cut it off to fit my dies. I wanted to cut out 2 leaves out of that paper. I used a just random leaf die and went on to put it through my cutting machine and cut 2 leaves out of it, which will decorate my rose later on my page. Once I have removed all the excess cut out of paper from the leaves, I shape them very carefully on my fingers, give them some life, and then I'm gluing it all in place. I'm starting by gluing the rose. I'm using wet glue, so that allows me to move it a little tiny bit as I need, and then I'm adding the leaves. I only glue them at the stem. Now it's time for me to finally placed and glue down my photograph. The first one is directly onto the background of the layout, and the second one will be mounted on double-sided sticky foam. So these are sticky foam strips. It's a roll that I've just recently found, and it's just enough to add a little bit of volume so that it can sit slightly over the cut file. And at this point, I'm not too sure on the placement of that photo, but once I start to add the other embellishments, I've pulled some embellishment off camera, and now I'm working on placing them. And once I'm adding the embellishment, it make it all work quite nicely. That behind, above kind of look on the photographs with the cut file, it just make it all work nicely together. I am creating clusters on a diagonal just to balance between the rose and the photo, so the photos and the rose clusters are balancing each other, and it's helping it all work quite nicely together. I'm adding obviously more flowers because of that rose and that whole garden kind of look and vibe, but I'm also adding some ladybird because they are in the same color scheme of that pink and that red, but also because Sophia really loved ladybird, and I've always learned or known ladybirds to be good luck, so I wanted to add them to this layout. I then went on to add some layer hearts, just creating a little bit of a visual triangle with that other photo, just a red heart and a yellow heart, again to repeat the red and the yellow from the dress and the rose. I'm just trying to keep on pulling all the the photo, the colours from the photo, and trying to make it all work nicely together. So although that I had my title and I thought that would be enough, I just still felt very dissatisfied with the final look of the layout, and I felt it needed a layout, something to wake it up, to jazz it up a little bit. So I went with those letters, the Florence letters, and I've always found in the past that they add some sort of spark to my layout. So I thought, right, come on, let's go with it. Even though it's a very princessy layout with the Sophia and the rose, etc., I thought I'll give it a go. And I wanted to mix it up. I didn't want to have just that same one font. So I decided to use also the puffy alphas just to finish my wording. And yeah, it just straight away I felt that my layout was coming alive. I was a lot happier with it. I had this little ephemera strip wording that worked perfectly with the layout to put underneath and to finish that kind of visual shelf. Also, the Belle in red balanced the rose and then the ladybird. It just all worked together. I was quite happy with that. Finished it off with a few more puffy stickers, Bella Besties, some little heart, as well as a couple of flowers. But as you remember when we started this video, the background was different, and off camera, well, when I went on to edit this video, and I think just to take a step back from the desk and from the layout, I really didn't like the background. I felt that it didn't work with the story and with the layout in general and the look. So off camera I went on and I just got off the background. I left everything stuck on it apart from obviously you are my Belle, but because everything was quite clustered, I was able to cut it all off and to glue it all back onto this beautiful ombre green background, which I love and made such a big difference. Please let me know in a comment if that ever happened to you in the past. You know, at the end of the day, I've got that philosophy that it's just paper. So please let me know what you think, and thank you so much for watching. Bye.